My non-existent viewers, this is the seventh and last video I'm making for Pokemon Week. Pokemon turned 26 years old back on Sunday, February 27th, and to round out my whole mini-series of ranking all my top 5 for Pokemon per type for this last video, we're going over all the types that were not introduced in Gen 1, the Dark, Steel, and Fairy types. Also, one last refresher on the rules for this mini-series. I've excluded legendaries, I've excluded Pokemons like altered forms, and if there's a dual-typed Pokemon that I already put on any of my previous 15 lists, you're not going to see it on any of these either. Like, since I already put Togekiss on the list of favorite flying types, you're not going to see Togekiss on the list of favorite fairy types either. So without further ado, let's wrap up this mini-series. I always know what my number 1 favorite Dark type is, but the numbers 5 through 2 were very difficult for me to choose. But starting at number 5, I have Weavile. Weavile's design is so brutal and menacing, and Gen 4 introduced a lot of really great cross-generational evolutions, and Weavile evolved from Sneasel being one of them. My sister caught a Sneasel for me, she was playing my Platinum game behind my back, and she caught a Sneasel and named him Fabrizio after the dude who gets crushed in Titanic, and I was like, no, Fabrizio! Oh, Auntie, you're so morbid. What's next? He's just giving me a pancake or something like that? Anyways, my 4th favorite Dark-type Pokemon is Sharpedo. You guys know me, I love Dark types, and I also love Sharks. There was a lot of water Pokemon introduced in the Howland region, which is the region that I grew up. I grew up with. I remember having a lot of great memories. My sister playing Pokemon Emerald with me, and Sharpedo was it's very menacing. And Archie and Omega and Alpha Sapphire having Mega Sharpedo with a strong jaw ability, that was quite a boss fight. My 3rd favorite Dark-type Pokemon is Hydreigon. Like I said, I love Dark types, and Dragon types are also one of my all-time favorite types. And a pseudo legendary Pokemon with a dual Dark and Dragon type with 3 heads that can learn the move Tri-Attack was just genius. Like I said, people can the whole no older Pokemon from previous generations or post-game thing was very hit or miss for a lot of players who played Black and White for the first time. It definitely didn't sit with me at the time, but one thing I did really like about Black and White was certain Pokemon like Hydreigon and Volcarona and Electros. When Gen 5 got things right, they got things right. My 2nd favorite Dark type is Houndoom. Houndoom was one of my main Pokemon I used in the Platinum days. I caught a Houndour with a Quick Ball. I named her Monkey for some reason, which makes no sense because Houndoom is not based on a monkey, it's based on a wolf or a dog or a hyena or some animal like that. And I love its dual Dark and Fire type. It has a really high special attack and a very wide range of attacks. And it's just overall just a very brutal but beautiful design as well. And lastly, my all-time favorite number 1 Dark type is Umbreon. If you asked me when I was a little kid what my all-time favorite Pokemon was, I probably would have said Ampharos, like I said in my Electric types list, and with Umbreon being a very close second because I was Dark types were probably my favorite type when I was a kid, and when I played a Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness on the GameCube, you get an Eevee as a starter Pokemon for the Ore region, and they give you 1 out of 5 shards. The Water Stone for Vaporeon, Fire Stone for Flareon, Thunderstone for Jolteon. Friendship wasn't really important in XD Gale of Darkness, so it was either a Sun Shard for Espeon or a Moon Shard for Umbreon, so of course I chose Moon Shard and evolved my Eevee into an Umbreon. And Umbreon, I love its appearance both in the games and the anime. It's so cute in the anime. And it can learn a very wide range of attacks. My friend Anthony taught me a really cheeky setup with Umbreon on Pokemon Showdown once. He said, teach him Mean Look, in this order, Mean Look, Toxic, Confuse Ray, and Moonlight, all in that order. Umbreon is just the perfect nuisance Pokemon for competitive gameplay, even though I'm not a very competitive person myself with Pokemon especially. But yeah, that was just a setup that I gotta try again at some point. And its design, I could sing praises for Umbreon all day, so before I talk your ear off all night about it, let's go on my favorite Steel type list. My 5th favorite Steel type is Probopass, and you have my friends Anthony, Nick, and John to thank for this one. We had this weird inside joke in high school. It's hey, what our spirit Pokemon is, and Nick's spirit Pokemon was Probopass because Anthony would constantly make jokes about Nick's nose for some reason, it's like, oh no, there's nothing going on up here, Vitas. Nick, his nose, it's where it's at. Like, his brain is in his nose, and it's like, Probopass, his nose is so big. And it's one out of two, like, cross-generational Pokemon introduced in Gen 4 that you had to evolve, like, from a Probopass on Mount Coronet. His design is just so, like, derpy looking, but that's why I love it. My fourth favorite steel type is Aggron. Like Probopass, it's a dual rock type, so of course there's a lot of weaknesses with Aggron, but I didn't really care as a kid. I still loved it back in the Hoenn days. It's such a cool design. Honestly, out of all the, Pokemon that weren't pseudo-legendaries, Aggron had, like, pseudo-legendary potential because, like, it was the third generation in a line of Pokemon that evolved purely by, like, leveling up, and a really big, strong, menacing design. And it got even better in Gen 6 with the Mega Evolution, where it negated both its weaknesses by turning just, like, a pure Steel type. And yeah, just Aggron is just a powerhouse all around. My third favorite steel type is Magnezone. You guys know, if you've watched my video talk about electric types, you know me, I adore electric types. And Magnezone was just one of my main Pokemon I used in Ultra Sun. I actually found it to be surprisingly effective when I faced Giovanni in the Rainbow Rocket episode, when, because he specializes in ground types and he had a Rhyperior on his team, which is a dual rock type, so it's like, teach Magnezone Magnet Rise, and it makes it immune to all, like, ground type attacks for, like, 5 turns, which is great because it has a 4 times weakness of ground types, so it's a great strategy, and it can launch such a really great range of attacks like Flash Cannon, Discharge, Thunder, Metal Sound, you name it. It's a very high special attack, and it's just, again, it's in the whole, like, evolution tree, like, with Magnemite and Magneton, like, Magnezone was a very worthy third entry in that family. My second favorite steel type is Empoleon. The main reason why I didn't put Empoleon on my list of favorite water types is because they're already, like, I already had Swampert, Feraligatr, and Blastoise on that list. I didn't want there to be too many, like, starter type Pokemon on the list of favorite water types, so I went with putting Empoleon on the list of favorite steel types. This was my starter that I chose in Shining Pearl. I love Empoleon's, like, penguin design. The whole Piplup family is just really cute, and it can run a very wide range of attacks, and it's just overall a very, like, tanky, beastly Pokemon to use. And my all-time favorite steel-type Pokemon is Metagross. Metagross is a poison-type Pokemon's nightmare because steel types are immune to poison-type attacks, and Metagross is a dual psychic type, and poison types weaken psychic types, so it's just a slayer of poison types. And I remember when my nose is itchy, my apologies. When Alpha Sapphire came out, there was a whole, like, special event, like Belgium, a shiny Belgium holding Metagross. I hopped on that special event like lickety-split because Hoenn is the only, like, region that introduced 2 pseudo-legendary Pokemon, Metagross and Salamence, and when I got Alpha Sapphire, I immediately knew that I wanted both on my team, and I did. I got the shiny Mega Metagross, and I got Salamence. Metagross is just such a high attack, and it's super cool looking with the whole, like, robot theme, and it's super smart as well. And yeah, it's just, who wouldn't want to, like, actually no, I wouldn't want to wrestle this thing. I was about to say, who would want to wrestle a Metagross, but I was like, ugh, jeez, I need sleep. Anyways, the last list of this entire series, we're going to go over my top 5 favorite fairy types. My 5th favorite fairy type is Grimmsnarl. Like I said in my last video talking about, like, my favorite psychic types, I have not played Sword or Shield. I've really considered, like, doing so before Pokemon Scarlet and Violet come out at the end of this year, because ever since fairy types were introduced back in Gen 6 of X and Y, I really want to see, like, a dual, like, dark and fairy type Pokemon, and Galar gave us that with Grimmsnarl, and I already love its design and its appearance. Like, oh, it's a fairy and a dark, so that both, like, a light-hearted side and an evil, sinister side at the same time. It's just genius. My 4th favorite fairy type is Primarina, because I chose Popplio in my Pokemon Moon playthrough, and Popplio was, like, the right starter Pokemon to choose if you were, like, thinking about the one that's going to help you most in later on in the game. And Primarina's dual water and, like, fairy type, and its wide range of special attacks was just a very great, like, choice for me, and also I just adore its design. It's like a seal mixed with a mermaid. It's just excellence. My 3rd favorite fairy type is Clefable. Clefable was one of a handful of, like, normal type Pokemon that was turned into a fairy type with the introduction of fairy types in Gen 6, and for good reason, because Clefable is just, like, it's just a fairy, and it fits, and it's from outer space, and I caught, like, a Clefairy, or a Cleffa, or whatever it was, in a Shining Pearl, and it's like, ooh, the Veilstone City Gym. I was getting to that point, and Clefable was, like, one of my main hitters against a melee. I don't, like, use that Clefable anymore, of course, later on in the game, but it was definitely a big, help early on. And my second favorite fairy-type Pokemon is Alolan Ninetales. Again, I adore the whole idea of regional variants for Pokemon. I think of all the regional variants we've gotten so far, Alolan Ninetales is probably, the best. And, you have Shang-Chi to thank for this one, because I love how Ninetales is based on a kitsune. Kitsunes are from Japanese mythology, they're nine-tailed foxes that have, can live for thousands of years and have, and can, read people's minds, have, magic powers, stuff like that. You see a few kitsunes in Shang-Chi, the Marvel movie coming back in September, which is kind of preposterous because Shang-Chi is all about Chinese martial arts and Chinese mythology, and kitsunes are from Japan, so a little bit of geographic inaccuracies, but that's okay. Alolan Ninetales is such a beautiful design, and it's unique typing as well, the dual ice and fairy type, and yeah, it's just, seriously, hats off the game for making such a beauty. And lastly, to end off this series, my all-time favorite fairy type is Jigglypuff. And Jigglypuff, this is again, Gen 1 nostalgia. There's another Pokemon that was turned from a normal type into a fairy type with the introduction of fairy types. I think the Jigglypuff is a dual normal and fairy type. And Jigglypuff was such a meme back in the day, both in the games and the anime, where Jigglypuff Jigglypuff, plus everyone was started drawing on their faces. And in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, one of my friends in elementary school defended Jigglypuff as one of the best characters in that entire game that you can fight as. And I was like, no, Jigglypuff stinks, dude. And he was like, no, she doesn't, dude. Her final smash, oh my god, her final smash in Super Smash Bros. Brawl was she would just inflates and it's and just everyone just knocked off the stage. It was just brilliant. And I also wanted to say that this isn't just my favorite fairy-type Pokemon. It was also Jigglypuff. It was my friend Monique's sister's favorite Pokemon. Her name was Elise. And yeah, she loved fairy types, and I asked Monique, hey, what was your sister's favorite Pokemon? And she said, oh, she really loved Jigglypuff, so I put Jigglypuff as my favorite fairy type to honor her. Elise was struggling with depression for a very long time, and she took her own life back in August. And as you can, and when you see your friends sad, it makes you sad as well. And back in November, I was getting food with my friend Monique, and we were talking about our plans for the holidays. And I told her, I really hope I can get a Switch to play new Pokemon games, because Shining Pearl was right around the corner. And she was like, oh, why don't you just take my sister's? So yeah, this Switch that I got back in November, that I've been using to play Shining Pearl and Legends Arceus with, this was her sister's, and well, Elise, if you're watching this from upstairs right now, I'm really honored that your sister trusted me with your Switch. This whole Pokemon week is dedicated to you and her, and I'm really sorry to end this video on a depressing note, but help is there. Depression is a horrible, horrible illness, guys. I know you are not alone. I promise you that. Help is there. I left the 2 phone numbers in the description of this video. The first one being the suicide hotline, as well if you're a Colorado resident like myself. I left the Colorado crisis line in the description down below. And I just please hug someone that you love today. And for those of you with siblings, I have an older sister, please hold them tightly, whether you're living with them or not, or see them at family dinners or at holidays. Just, you never take your loved ones for granted, because you can lose them at any moment. And yeah, rest in peace, Elise. I'm gonna keep playing this Switch in your memory. And yeah, that concludes Pokemon Week. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, once again, Elise and Monique, thank you so much.